Good morning, friends. Today I am going to take this session on the basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, friends, we are dealing the constitutional part. So in this part, we have done the articles till 51A of the Constitution, guys. Okay, and after that, I am taking the few general aspects of the discussion. Like in the previous class, I have taken the amending procedure of the Constitution. So in such a manner, now I am going to take this session on the basic structure of the Constitution. This is very important topic, very important and very important. Guys, you should know what exactly the basic structure of the Constitution, what are its amendments, so finally to what extent we have came to the basic structure of the Constitution with the Parliament and with the judiciary. So this is the judge between the parliamentary and the judicial, guys. Means they are going to see the what exactly the basic structure of the Constitution. So with this aspect, I am going to start my discussion with the first article number 368. So the topic for the discussion is basic structure of Constitution. Basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, so the topic is basic structure of the Constitution. We people are aware of that our Constitution, we are having the rights, provisions and many things with respect to union, state, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, all of this. But what exactly the basic structure of the Constitution? So the basic structure is we evolved in between, guys. So in the year 1973 through the case on the Bharati case, we evolved the term basic structure. So why this have been evolved? So what are the things that made them to get the basic structure? If we see, guys, article 368, I want to reiterate article 368. Okay, if we see article 368, in article 368 it is mentioned that it is the parliamentary power they can amend. Okay, it is the parliamentary power they can amend the Constitution. They can amend the Constitution. I mean, they can add, they can addition or variation, repeal. Okay, they can add or subtract or amend or repeal the Constitution. Okay, repeal the Constitution. So this power has been given to the Parliament. This power have been given to the Parliament, guys. Okay, so this they can done with the procedure established in the article. They can done to the procedure established in the article. Okay, guys. So the addition or suppression, variation or repeal. Repeal means the taking away of the article. The taking away of the provision of the Constitution can be done by the procedure established in the article, guys. Okay, so this is about the article 368. They can done this in any manner. And one more provision we are having that it says that any provision of the Constitution, any provision of the Constitution, or we can say that any part. So simply if I take the meaning of the article 368, article 368 has given the power to whom, guys? Parliament. Okay, Parliament. So Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution. What does amend the Constitution means? Amend means they can add, subtract or amend, repeal, variation, anything they can do to the they can have their hands on the Constitution. But any provision of the Constitution means there is no limit to the article 368. No limit to the article 368. This they should follow the procedure established in the article. So whatever the procedure that we are having, we should follow. This procedure we have discussed in the previous class. Okay, that is the amendment of the Constitution. Now, if we skip like that, we have article number 13. We have article number 13, guys. Guys, I have explained article 13 clearly. Article 13 says that no one can't touch the part 3. It says that no one can't touch part 3 of the constitution, guys. So if you see this in detail, they have said that any order, action, legislation or amendment, okay, any action, order, legislation or amendment which are inconsistent or derogation with part 3 of the constitution, okay, then they can say it as a null and void. So guys, if any law, if any amendment, so this article 368 will do amend the constitution, okay, they have the right to amend the constitution. But if you see article 13, no one can't touch part 3, means we have the article 3 as strong, that is fundamental rights. So if you see any order, action or the legislature or the amendment, means this is article 368. Any this form inconsistent or derogation with the part 3. If they are making any issue with the part 3 of the constitution, then we can say that it is null and void. So these provisions we are having in article 13. Article 368 means, in simple, article 368 is given that I have right to do anything with the constitution. I can change the constitution. I can make any changes in the constitution. But article 360 in the constitution maker, it said that guys, you have safety. You have safety for your rights. No one is going to take your rights and no one is going to touch your rights. Like these provisions we are having in article 13. Okay, but article 368 we have given the entire provisions. But these are in controversy. Guys. Guys, you are getting things? These two things are in controversy. These article 13 we are having that no one is going to take our rights. Means it also explains that it is inconsistent only, or it is any derogation with the part 3 of the constitution, then we have our rights. No one can do like that. But article 368, they are giving the full power, that is any provision of the constitution procedure established in the article. This is the issue with the article 13 and article 368. Okay, so for this, what happened, guys, guys, this is the basic part of our discussion, that is the basic structure of the constitution. Now I will start with the cases. Okay, I will start my discussion with the cases. So what happened means, in a case that is Sajjan Singh versus the Union of India. Okay, that is Sajjan Singh. Okay, guys, we have the case Sajjan Singh versus Union of India. Guys, this is second case. Sorry. So this is second case. We have the first case, Shankari Prasad versus the Union of India. Sorry, Shankari Prasad. Okay, we have Shankari Prasad versus Union of India in the year 1951. So why we have been made this case? Because in the year 1951, guys, before this I will take one national. I want to take it as sequence. Guys, in the year 1951, that is the Nehru government, the first constitution have been amended. The first constitutional amendment has been amended. It is about they have amended the first constitution, that is article 31. They have amended article 31, right to compulsory acquisition of property. Compulsory acquisition of property. Compulsory acquisition of property. Okay. So in the compulsory acquisition of property, this is the article 31. This is article 31. This have been amended by the Nehru government. So from here onwards, you need to discuss two aspects. Means you should know two things. That is the one with respect to the parliament. One with respect to the parliament, which are going to make the laws. The other is with respect to the judiciary, which are going to save our laws, which are going to protect our laws. So we have clashes between these two things. Means they will do something and they will say it is the null and void, and they will do something. So in reiteration, they will go for something. Okay. So the parliament and the judiciary. So if I say it is case, the case will be dealt with the judiciary. If it is any amendment, it is parliament. Now I am speaking about the work of the parliament. Okay, so in the parliament, the 1951, the first constitutional amendment have been made. So what first constitutional amendment act? It is about the article 31. It is about the article 31. Means they have amended the article 31. Article 31 is the compulsory acquisition of the property. They have amended the article 31, and this was challenged, guys. Why? Because I said that article 31 is the fundamental right. Article 31 is the fundamental right. So in the previous topic, I explained that no one is going to take our fundamental rights. Those provisions we are having in our article 13. Article 13 we are having that no one is going to take our rights, our fundamental rights. But the constitution, that is the parliament, have amended article 31. Then this have been challenged. Means I will go to the Supreme Court because they are taking my fundamental right. Like this have been challenged in the Shankari Prasad. Shankari Prasad versus Union of India. The case will be like that. So we will be having the provisions like that. Shankari Prasad versus Union of India, 1951. So this amendment have been challenged in the Shankari Prasad versus Union of India. So in this, so here we part of the judiciary. Here parliament. Okay. So in parliament they have made this amendment, but this have been challenged. But I taken this provision to the court. So finally it went to the Supreme Court, the Shankari Prasad versus Union of India, 1951. So what the Supreme Court had said that. So we have issues, that is, so article, it is about, so parliament can amend anything in the constitution. Means they have amended. But in the part 3 it is said that, in the article 13 it is said that the fundamental rights are not going to take by anyone. But they have targeted the fundamental right only. Now the case have been came to the judiciary. Now what judiciary will deliver, guys. So in this it have been challenged that they have against the article 13. They have challenged as against article 13. Because in article 13 we have the rights of the protection of the fundamental rights. Then what this judge have been, the judgment in this case said, they have distinguished the constitution laws and the general laws. They have distinguished the constitution laws and the general laws. So we have two types of laws. That is, like for example, any of the other laws, like the Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, those laws are different from the constitution laws. That is, this constitution amendment laws, and said that the judiciary has upheld the amendment. Means they said this constitution amendment is correct. Okay, there is no wrong in this provision. Okay, this Shankara Prasad versus Union of the case, they have seen the article 368. Article 368, it said that any provision of the constitution, the parliament have the constituent power. The parliament can make the constituent law, constituent power. Then it is right. So with respect to 368, they considered and said that the article 31 amendment is right. And this is the first time where we have made two type of laws. That is the constituent laws and legislative laws. Okay, so the constitutional amendments and the legislative amendments, they have, that is article 368 have given the power of the parliament to make this constitution amendment, and they have said it is upheld. Means they said the above amendment is right. Okay guys, done. I think you people have clear till now. Okay, but what happened, so what happened, same after few years, in the year 1964, we have one more case. That is Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. Okay, in the year 1964. Okay, so in the year 1964 we have the case that is Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, means it is the judiciary. It is the judiciary. So in the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, again there is an issue. Again in this case there is an issue with the right to property. Again in this case there is an issue with the right to property, guys. Okay, so that is again in this case also something, there is an issue with the right to property through Article 368, and it said that in this also whatever the changes that have been, they said it is valid. They said that, so in this case also the same judgment has been accepted by the court. Okay, guys. So here also there is some issue with the right to property. Right to property. The Supreme Court has taken the same judgment, that is for this Sankara Prasad versus Union of India, and they said that it is upheld. Again this one validated. But again we are having the one more case, that is the Golaknath case versus the State of Punjab. Golaknath case. Golaknath case versus State of Punjab. Okay, so this is the third case. So this also comes under the judiciary. Okay, guys. This is the first case. This is the second case. Again with the right to property also the Supreme Court has said that. So Article 360 is the correct. So when we have the clash with the Article 13 and 368, we are going to take the Article 368 and we are going to cancel this 361 only. Okay, but in the Golaknath of the State of Punjab, this judgment have been challenged in this case. Guys, you can challenge judgments also, you can challenge the court's parliamentary law also. In this case, this judgment have been challenged in the Golaknath versus State of Punjab. Okay, so in this what happens, the judiciary has overruled these two judgments. The judiciary have overruled these two judgments and said that no one can't touch Article 13. No one can't touch against Article 13, and no one has right to take over the fundamental rights. Okay, some different exactly different judgment, guys. Okay, inside there that no one can't take fundamental rights. No one can't take fundamental rights. Means they have overruled. In this case, the judiciary has overruled. Means they have said that these two judgments are wrong. These two judgments are null and void, and we should give priority to the Article 13 than Article 368. Okay, we should give Article 13 than Article 368. That is, no one is going to take anyone's fundamental rights. Okay, these have been fundamental rights have given the validity, guys. Fundamental rights have given the validity. So this is very, very important, guys. That is the Golaknath of the State of Punjab in the year 1967. Very, very important judgment. Very, very important judgment. So, guys, done. So this is the about this provision, guys. Right? Is 1951 Constitution Amendment 1951. In the Golaknath process, the Supreme Court has ruled that these two provisions they have ruled and overruled, and they have given importance to the fundamental right. Means they said that we are going to protect Article 13, guys. Okay, means what they had did, they have done against the parliamentary. They have done against the parliamentary. Means it said that Parliament has no say that they can go for amending anything. Okay, so then the Parliament got somewhat angry. Okay, then in retaliation to this, the Indira Gandhi, then the government of Indira Gandhi, they have made a amendment. They have made one amendment. Okay, guys, that amendment is the 24th Constitutional Amendment of 1971. Okay, so the Indira Gandhi have made amendment to the Constitution, that is 24th Constitutional Amendment of 1971. Okay, they have made 24th constitutional amendment of 1971 they have made. Okay, so what are the provisions they have kept in the 20? Okay, so this 24th constitutional amendment 1971 have been guys done. So this is about the judiciary. Now again we entered into the parliament. Okay, again we entered the parliament. So in the parliament, the 24th constitutional amendment that 1971 have made by the who guys? That is Indira Gandhi government have made this amendment. So in this amendment, what they said. So what are the provisions in the in this amendment? They have inserted one article, that is the one clause, that is Article 13(4). They have inserted. They have inserted Article 34 and said that whatever the provisions that are present in the Article 32 before this amendment, they are not going to take part. They are going to be null and void. That means from now onwards we are not having any provisions regarding Article 13. Means here said they are giving the extraordinary powers to Article 368. Means we have no limit to Article 368. So in this case, they have limit to Article 368 because the Article 13 is limiting Article 368. Okay, means we can't go for amending the Article 13. Means it is limiting Article 368. But in this case, that is in 24th Constitutional Amendment 1971, they have included 13(4) and said that means from now onwards we are not having anything that are present in the 13. Means the 13 is no usefulness. The 13 is no usefulness. No usefulness from now onwards. Means this is affecting the very spirit of the democracy. This is affecting the very spirit of democracy. Very spirit of democracy. As I said that we have the clash between judiciary and parliament. So in reiteration for this amendment, for the judgment, they have made this amendment. They said that whatever the things that we are having in 13, that is Article 13, sir, that is special provisions, that is we have going to protect the fundamental rights. This amendment have made there is nothing like that, and we are going to, that is no usefulness of this article, guys. Okay, so in such a manner there is a conflict, guys, between judiciary and the parliament. So this finally affecting the very spirit of the democracy. What exactly democracy defines, guys? What exactly democracy defines? Democracy defines the debate, discussion, checks and balance. Democracy defines debate, discussion and checks and balance. Checks and balance. But it is affecting the spirit of the democracy. Guys. Okay, so these things we are having, guys. These things we are having, and this is the things which are happening. Okay. So guys, in this we are having the 24th Constitutional Amendment at 1971. So this have made that they have removed the Article 13 and said it is null and void. So and said they are making changes. So whatever the provisions that are present in Article 13, so from now onwards we are not going to have those. And it says that so if this is done, then it is affecting the very spirit of the democracy. The democracy actually deals with debate, discussion, and the checks and balance. Okay, but after this we are having the one more case, that is Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. We have Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. Guys, this is a sequence, guys. This is a sequence we need to see. So after this one, we are having the case, that is Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. So in this one, this was in the year 1973. In the year 1973, that is judiciary. Again, judiciary has interfered. As they are saying that whatever 13 that are present in this, they are saying it is not useful from now onwards. But we have in the year 1973. Like this, we are having the clashes between, means they are doing something, they are saying something. They are doing something, they are saying something. Like this, we are having the clashes. So in the Keshavananda Bharati versus Kerala, state of Kerala in this 1973, the judiciary that is present is having the 13 members judge, guys. Sorry, 13 members judge. That is the 13 members bench. They said that so now from now onwards we are going to take away Article 13. So we are not going to consider Article 13, but the Parliament can amend anything in the Constitution. The Parliament can amend anything in the Constitution, and we are not taking and we are not going to consider this Article 13 also. Means we are not having the special provisions from Article 13 also. But we need to consider one thing, that is basic structure of the Constitution no one can't touch. Okay, they said that basic structure of Constitution. Okay, that is basic structure of the Constitution. No one can't touch the basic structure of the Constitution, guys. Parliament can amend anything in the Constitution, and we are not having this Article 13 also from now onwards. But the basic structure of the Constitution, no one can't take this structure. Okay, guys. So, guys, in the case of the Bharati case, they said that we can touch anyone, but we can't touch the basic structure of the Constitution, guys. Okay. So these provisions we are having in the article, that is in the 1973, guys. This is the birth of the basic structure of the Constitution, guys. This is the birth of the basic structure of the Constitution. Basic structure of the Constitution, guys. Basic structure of the Constitution. It is the birth. Okay. So what is the basic structure? So how the Parliament can know basic structure? So the during, that is the 24th April 1973, the court has said that few provisions of the basic structure of the Constitution, like democracy, okay, secular, Article 50, that is the separation of judiciary from the executive. All this, like, these are the basic structure of the Constitution. So how these people will be knowing the basic structure? Means has given the judgment, means the judiciary is going to decide. The judge is going to decide the basic structure of the Constitution from the case to case. So from the case to case, they are going to decide the basic structure of the Constitution. They have simply made few basic structure of the Constitution. You should remember those basic structure, guys. Okay, they will ask in the place which of the following is not the basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, so this is about the Keshavananda Bharati case. So in the case to case, the judge is going to decide which is the basic structure or not. Okay, means we have given this power to the judiciary. Okay, and after this, again what happened, we have 39th Constitutional Amendment in the year 1975, again with the parliamentary. Okay, again in the means with this we have done with the basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, guys, this is, we have done our discussion, but what are the basic structure of the Constitution that we have going to see, guys? So in the judgments they have made. So like that I am taking a judgment, that is in the 39th Constitutional Amendment of 1975. 39th Constitutional Amendment of 1975. In this made, they have the election of the Speaker and the Prime Minister. Election of Speaker and Prime Minister will not come under judicial review. Will not under judicial review. So what do you mean by judicial review? So judicial review means we will do whatever we want, that is the judiciary is not going to interfere. So these provisions they have been included in the 39th Constitutional Amendment 1975 by the Parliament, guys. Okay, the election regarding the Speaker and the Prime Minister will be taken care by the Parliament only. So judiciary will not interfere in these provisions. So they have made the amendment in such a manner, guys, that is judicial review. But this has been again made into the case. Okay, that is Indira Nehru Gandhi case. Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan in the year 1975. They said that no, this also comes under the judicial review. Judicial review, guys, means they have made this provision as a null and void. Null and void. No, they have made these provisions as a null and void, and they will come under the judicial review. So this is a judgment given by the judiciary. Again, parliament, we have judiciary. Okay, means what we know with the 1973 we have done with the things. Okay, finally we came to one conclusion. Okay, that is parliament can amend anything, but they can't touch the basic structure of the constitution. Okay, agree. So the parliament also agree, the judiciary also agree. But what is the judiciary? So what exactly that comes on the basic structure means this judicial review. And in this case, Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan case, the Supreme Court said that judicial review also the basic structure. You parliament has no role to amend the judicial review also. Okay, so this now if we add that is the basic structure, what are the things? It includes the judicial review also. Judicial review also. Okay, so judicial review also under the basic structure. So from now onwards, the parliament can't touch the judicial review of the judiciary. That's done. So in this manner, we have the same the parliament and the judiciary. So after that, again they have made 42nd constitutional amendment at 1976. Okay, 42nd constitutional amendment at 1976. In this say everything that is every act that made by the parliament will not cover the judicial review. देखो by parliament कैसा कर रहा. Okay, so in this 42nd constitutional amendment in 1976 that parliament said that any parliament law not comes under judicial review. Okay, so judicial review means the parliament is saying that we will make the laws and that will not comes under judicial review. So guys, without judicial review, how things happen. If any law they have made is against the fundamental rights, then who are going to protect the fundamental rights? We have judiciary now. So this in the Minerva Mills case. Again, this was challenged in the Minerva Mills case. That is in the year 1980. Minerva Mills case. In the year 1980, it is said that everything under the law comes under the judicial review. Everything under the system comes under the judicial review. This provision have been mentioned in the Minerva Mills case. It said that everything under the system comes under judicial review. Everything under the system comes under the judicial review. Means they have said this provision as a null and void. Yes. Null and void. Actually, they have said this as a null and void in the 44th Constitutional Amendment at 1978 itself. But this case, in the Minerva Mills case, everything under the system comes under the judicial review, guys. Okay, this in the year 1988, guys. Okay, so in the one more case, they have said that equality also comes under judicial review. Equality. So like this, with respect to the cases, we are having the things that comes under the judicial review. That is the parliament. Again, after the judiciary. Okay, so guys, with regarding this, we have the parliament, judiciary. So this is about the basic structure of the constitution, guys. Okay, I think I have clearly explained what exactly the basic structure of the constitution with the amendments. Guys, briefly you should know what is Minerva Mills case in a simple mill case. Okay, no need to go in depth of the case. Okay, so what are the provisions of the case? I will take the cases in a separate session, guys. Simply remember in the Minerva Mills case, it is about the Mills case. Okay, guys. So with this, I am closing this session, guys. Okay, thank you one and all, guys.